This was the scene above Chaparral High School in September, where roughly 40 police officers swarmed the Scottsdale campus following reports that a gunman had taken hostages. Fortunately, it turned out to be a hoax, but a disturbing new report reveals Arizona public and charter schools may not be ready for the real thing.
I will never offer excuses. I will only offer explanations, and I'll accept responsibility for that which falls under my purview.
At the Capitol today, the Arizona Department of Education's school safety director told lawmakers he doesn't dispute the report. The Arizona Auditor General had reviewed the emergency plans of nearly 50 schools and found none of them met the state's minimum standards, and that some had no plans at all.
I want to have my team work directly with our schools to help them develop their emergency operations plans, to pressure test those plans, to ensure those plans meet the needs of their individual schools.
For the past 23 years, state law has required schools to adopt emergency plans. But unlike other states, there are no laws to make sure the schools actually have plans or that they meet the standards. Arizona Schools Chief Tom Horn said all he and his office can do is remind schools about the safety requirements and encourage compliance.
Unless the legislature gives us staff to monitor, that's really all we can do.
Tom Horn said his office has 2 employees dedicated to the school safety of Arizona's 1 million students. But those workers don't have time to monitor safety plans. By contrast, the Auditor General points out that Texas has a department of 90 full-time workers funded with $16 million to make sure safety plans comply with state law.
We will submit to the legislature this calculation of how much is needed for how many staff members to monitor, and then they're the legislature. It's up to them.
And again, the new legislative session begins next month. I did reach out to Governor Hobbs's office to see if she would be pushing for new laws or new funding to ensure the safety of Arizona's students, but I did not hear back from them this afternoon, guys.
Really stunning findings here. Where were these safety plans falling short, or that they just didn't have them at all?
Yeah, a lot of it was like they weren't running required drills. Some, again, we mentioned some schools didn't really have any types of plans out there. And the big thing is now is that again that the Auditor General points out is there's no real laws that require the schools chief or anybody to really follow up and monitor these schools to make sure these plans are in place, they meet the standards, and everything's going smoothly like that. So it's going to be up to the legislature next year whether they want to meet this challenge or address this issue. And it's going to be, could be a mixture of statutory requirements and well as funding, because a lot of this always comes down to funding.
I imagine that that's going to be a priority for them, because our Investigates team just reported a few weeks ago about 150 schools, more than them, got threats this fall, and police said that they were confident they stopped at least one school campus shooting. So the timing of this is pretty scary for families.
And education is always a priority. As I always tell people, that the 3 basic things that the state does: it educates, medicates, and incarcerates. And when you start talking about that budget, education takes up 42% of the general fund revenues out there. So education is always a top issue down there, because it's a big part, a majority part, really of what state governments do. So.
And just yesterday we reported that the state has $48 million set aside for school safety officers or school resource officers, and I wonder if folks are going to start asking, is that money suited for those officers when these schools don't even have a safety plan to begin with?
Yeah, and some people would say that. I was talking to somebody about that earlier today, and they said, yeah, it's great to have school resource officers, but what good are they if they don't have a plan?
I thought we dealt with this back in Columbine, and here we are today. Dennis, thank you.